Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, I'm going to do an update or a part 2 to a video I did about a week and a half ago about the young guy from Mexico who's looking for help with his dad. This is all about the guy. He is 22 and his dad recently was essentially kicked out of the house by his mom because she wants a divorce. And if you all recall, their marriage was terrible. His mother truly is an awful person. And in my opinion, the dad has all these behavior and traits that seem like Stockholm Syndrome, where she's always berating him, treating him like crap, and he just puts up with him. Finally, she kicks him to the curb. But worse off, she started making up all these accusations about him that he was doing some awful things to her. You guys can use your imagination. Got the lawyers involved. And his dad is having a complete freaking breakdown, compounded the fact that his own mother died. And this young guy who's 22, he's taken over the role like the father. And he's been watching my content. He's a guy in his grind, doing well. And he wanted to know what he could do to help his old man out. Because his old man is just completely the blue pill, worn down beta male guy who's crying and just can't leave the house. And just, it's a mess. So I responded things I thought he needed to do. He needed to confront his mother and tell her to drop all that BS about him abusing her and all that, which is complete nonsense, because obviously she's doing it to make the divorce easier on him. And if he doesn't do that, if she doesn't do that, he's not got anything to do with her. Help his dad get back on track and handle in a way that, obviously, because his dad's his dad, he has to be respectful. So it's a tough situation. But anyhow, he's writing in with an update on how things are going with his dad, how he confronted his mom, his sister, and all that. And so it's definitely, you're going to enjoy this for those of you that saw that and saw the video. That he's doing better. And you guys really helped him. He's very grateful to you guys that commented, giving some tips and suggestions to help his dad and mom and all that. So definitely it's always good to hear these updates and how guys are using the community and the videos to help them out. So he says here, hello again, SSM. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update on what has happened. First and foremost, I want to thank you a lot for making the video. I watched it almost religiously and read many of the comments as possible. I also want to thank everyone in the community for both their words of encouragement and the advice. You're welcome, man. I'm really glad I can help. And again, guys, thank you for you guys taking the time to help these young guys out. The more you comment, the more you help save guys. You may not realize it, but you can be on the other side of the world and you take a minute, 30 seconds to type a response. These guys will read it and will help them. Now, first and foremost, my mother. Oh boy. Mrs. Hitler. I got to talk to her in person this weekend, and as you'd expect, she wanted to make herself look good to me. Well, of course. She took me to a wing stop, knowing full well how addictive I find those damn things. But even then, it was a great opportunity to talk to her in person and carry out your advice. First, she talked about trivial things like, so how is college going? You got a girlfriend yet? He says, no. And then she started about the money. She kept asking me about these 3 months of college tuition for my father, only more advisable stuff. It was then that I put your advice in practice. I told her that if she wanted things to continue going smoothly between she and I, that she'd have to either outright cancel the divorce or give my father an express divorce. I know the first one won't happen, but putting that option on the table was essential, at least for my father's sake. Also, she needs to call off the lawyers and the I'm scared it'll hurt me crap. She surprisingly doubled down on that. She said that my father could snap and take a weapon and off her. I immediately called her out on her BS. I told her that she knew that was BS and that she knows that anyone could go by that logic since pulling the trigger is never hard. So of course she's going to double down and of what she was saying because she hasn't quite taken you seriously yet, and this is who she is. But good for you for having the guts, because I know this wasn't easy, setting your mom down and laying down the law and calling her on her crap. I guarantee you, she may not like what you're saying, but she will respect you for that. You're being a man. You are being more of a man than her husband. Okay, I don't mean to be insulting to your dad, but let's be honest, we know what kind of guy your dad is. And you all recall in the first video, his mom, based on his description of her, is a total bully. I don't use that word very often, but her actions describe that because he said she's very hard-headed, never apologizes for anything, obviously unfeeling, unloving, cold, all that. Good for you for standing up to her. You cut the crap, or you have nothing to do with me. End of story. That was my recommendation. To my surprise, there wasn't any waterworks, because she's not capable of waterworks. But she did have a facial expression as if it was a giant fire-breathing dragon talking to her. Her eyes were wide open, staring at me, trying to process that I was talking to her in this way. Eventually, she promised me the lawyers would be called off. The divorce is more than likely going to take place, but at least he's abusive is going away too. Good. That's the most important part. And I said this before, and I absolutely mean this because I was thinking about this as I was reading your update here. They should not get back together. That'd be the worst thing possible. She doesn't love him. In my opinion, she's not capable of loving anybody at all. And he's just attached to her. It's not love, okay? Even though he's hurting now, he is far better off in the long term cutting ties with her. But what she can do, like you said, call off the attack dogs, the lawyers, with this BS thing she was saying about him, and give him as fast as possible a smooth, amicable divorce so he can pick himself up and move on. All guys can go through hell and pick up and move on. And your dad has it in him. He just doesn't know it yet. And you can do your part to help him. But at the end of the day, your dad has to save himself. Okay, you can do everything you can to help him, but he has to want to get up out of bed, make an effort, and turn things around. And he can. I have faith in him. He says here, I got a chance to look through her phone when she went to the bathroom and I found no evidence of cheating. Someone in the comments mentioned that and I had actually thought of it myself. I kind of thought that too, and I still kind of think that. But alas, that doesn't appear to be the case. So you think. What did become apparent is that as the day progressed and the wings hit, and that my mother has a lot of emotional baggage regarding my father, me and my sister, and her overly family life. I don't want to hear about this emotional baggage thing and her all of a sudden shifting blame for her actions on some issue. That's what people that incapable of taking accountability for their actions do. It's always somebody else's fault that I'm behaving like an asshole. It's not my fault. No. She brought up things that had hurt her from well over a decade ago. And what has become clear, that she does seem to have some issues with not letting things go. You think? And by the way, a decade ago when you were like, 12 years old, a kid, where she should have been a mother for you, that was her priority, not her bullshit. And that probably all ended up with all this. Maybe it's a mental illness, trauma, or something similar. I do not know. But she clearly has some unresolved issues that I can't fix myself, and perhaps it's better that way for her to be away, both of her and my father. It is not your job to fix your mom. It's not your job to fix your dad either. You love your dad, you want to help him, and he's a good guy. So yeah, but he and ultimately has to fix himself. But your mom, on the other hand, she's an a-hole. We all know this. And I don't want to hear about these issues she may have to kind of excuse her from blame for her ways. When all was said and done and we were going back to the car, she had her head between her shoulders and looked up at me, knowing full well that he's abusive was BS and trying to hurt my dad. She ended up telling me, "You've matured a lot as of late." How about that? Your mom recognized that you're acting like a man. And I guarantee, even though she was pissed at you and shocked that you were saying what you said to her, she respected you for being a man, being direct, and calling her on her crap. Remember, women respect strength, they hate weakness. And your dad has demonstrated, from what you told me, to be like George McFly, a total weak bitch. If your dad had stood up to her, really stood up to her all those years, then it would have been different. So good for you, but let me mention this. I guarantee you, your mother will test you. In this moment, her respect for you has gone up. But mark my words, given who she is and what you described to her, there will be tests down the road to see if you're still as strong and able to stick by your guns and call her on her crap. I guarantee it. Be prepared. But good for you. You won this round. Now, as for my father, he's obviously still hurt. But like someone suggested in the comments, going out hunting like he always has loved to do, was some of the best medicine he could have gotten. I may not like to admit it, since I'm the young guy that should have all the reflexes, but the old man still got it. He can shoot quail way better than I can. Being out in the field really is therapy, and this showed. I did sit him down and talk with him about this situation, and although he still clings to hope, I got to convince him to at least to put a limit on that hope. Don't let it drag out too long, and he agreed. Good. Your dad's improving. He's gotten out of the house. He's out in nature. Whether he's going for a hike or hunting. I'm not into hunting, but some guys are. That's fine. Going for a hike, fishing, hunting, whatever it is. A bike ride, on some mountain biking, anything. When you're feeling like crap and you're depressed, guys, and I understand this quite well, You got to move. You got to get out. You got to do things. Hiding in your room, under the covers, not wanting to get out ain't the solution. It makes things worse. You got movement. Will make you feel better. And that's what your dad's doing. And I'm glad you're talking about reality and he's starting to potentially accept how things are. So this is progress. It says here, in your words, he agreed to rip off the Band-Aid, but let's do it a little later, until he's absolutely sure the divorce will take place, which it probably will. The divorce is going to take place, and believe me, it will be the best thing that ever could happen to your dad. He's been able to eat better, stewed wild quails has helped, sleep better, and overall he has been crying like he used to, but he's still hurt, especially due to my grandma passing. But overall, the hardest part for him is already kind of past. He just has to commit to what we talked about, and he's free to have hope. But that hope must not have him. I think it's a matter of continuing to be strong for him, time to process all that's happened, and perhaps some more hunting trips. Okay, I'm cool with this. But let's not get this hope too much, because hope what? That they get back together and it's going to be all wonderful like he thought it once was? Your description of their marriage was awful. He needs help. More than you can provide. But he has to help himself. So I'm glad progress is being made and he's eating and he's sleeping and not crying as much. But now if he has a purpose, if he has a job he likes or something to get him out of bed every day, he needs to stick to that. Going out, going to the gym, exercising, moving, hanging out with you, going to his job, making money, whatever. Hanging out with his bros. But he can't go back to her. Now, I purposely left my sister for last, since you asked about her, but she has very little to do with this, other than being away, which doesn't help my father's mood. She went to study in Canada, and she rarely keeps in contact with my dad, and even less with me. I've only had one phone call with her twice since she went away last year. My relationship with her has never all been that great. We have very little in common outside being siblings, and she doesn't like my father. She doesn't like my father was against her going to Canada, since my father felt it was her abandoning the family, where she saw it was as her future, and my father holding her back. Both are right to a certain extent. Overall, my sister hasn't been really involved in this whole situation other than in that way, and that's why I sort of left her aside in my first email. Okay, she's that sibling that really has nothing to do with the family. Well, she ought to be involved with your dad in this bad place, and obviously what's going on, but okay, it's your family, you know better. Fine. So that is it. That's how things are going. Not exactly good, but definitely better. It's just a matter of letting time heal these wounds and continue going forward. We're not out of the woods yet, but we're past the thorny bushes. Thanks again for everything, both to you and this community. My pleasure, brother. I'm glad I can help. And again, your dad needs my content when he's ready. Now, he may not like me. People either really like me, my personality on here, or fucking hate me. There's usually very rarely in the middle. So flip a coin. But your dad needs at least this type of content. And he needs to get his man card back. And he can. I have faith in your dad. And you can help him there. But also remember, you can only go so far. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. Okay? And at the end of the day, if your dad's not going to change himself, then, but it seems like he's on the path. So you're doing a good job. But don't let it sway you from your purpose as well. SSM, if you ever stop here in Mexico, be sure to give me a shout out and you'll be getting a beer from me on my part. Now, if you'll excuse me, that degree is going to get to itself. Time to get back to work. Thanks again. Well, you're welcome, bro. I'm glad to help. And good job for you, what you're doing for your dad and standing up to your mom. I know that wasn't easy. Get back on your grind. I know you're doing well for yourself, and you are light years ahead of most guys at 22 years old. And I can just tell the way you wrote this, and particularly the first story there. You really got your shit together. And where'd you get it from? Watching this content. Not just mine. Not trying to toot my own horn here, but other channels like mine. Self-improvement. That is the key. And having role models. And so many young guys nowadays just don't have those things. And if I can help young guys look at things differently, question things, recognize that they have worth, they can make something of themselves, that they are important, they can turn their crappy lives around, that self-improvement will make things better, and they put it into practice and see it, then I'm doing my part in trying to make this fucked up world a little bit better here. Because definitely it's been going down the shitter for a long time. That's my part. So, bro, I wish you the best. Keep me posted how things are going with your old man. I really want to hear he's moving on and doing well. Maybe one day he'll write me. Who knows? All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Give him some praise in the comment section for standing up to his mom and for not giving up on his dad. I really respect that. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.